Hey everybody, welcome back to Rust Admin Academy, where I'm teaching you guys everything you need to know about owning and operating a successful Rust server. And of course, I'm back in my igloo bringing you all the latest and greatest in plugin development. For those of you that didn't know, as many of you didn't, I was actually in Las Vegas last week, which was absolutely fantastic. I love the fact that I was finally able to leave my country and go down and see my friends down in America. All right, let's get down to business for today. So today I want to introduce you to a plugin called DropShip. It's available from Lone.Design, link in the video description down below. And what DropShip does is it allows you to have another event on your server for your players to give them all an opportunity to fight over loot. But before we get into the actual details, we need to recognize that this is a premium plugin, $14.99 US. And again, like I said before, available from Lone.Design. So basically what this plugin does is it makes it so that shipping containers will spawn randomly all around your server, similar to the regular supply drop or even the CH-47 drop. But this way we're giving players a new way that they can fight over loot, which is always fun. Now the developer on this plugin, I think his name is actually Blow, but I'm going to change it and I'm going to call him Colin because I don't want to be talking about anybody's colon on my YouTube channel. So Blow has done some really cool things with this plugin, which makes it quite versatile for you as the server owner to decide how you actually want to make use of it. Now, right out of the box, all 4 of the events are automatically enabled. So you're going to have the dropship event, the harbor event, the deep ocean event, and the train event all automatically enabled as soon as you install this plugin. And then of course, providing that you have the permission that allows you to use this command, you can also use an admin spawn command that will create an event at a command's notice. All right, so I've had dropship running on my server for a couple of days now, so we shouldn't have any trouble finding the different events that are going on around the server. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you might actually miss it. For example, this blue container down here, it might look like it's supposed to be there, like it's just part of the prefab. But if we go up to it, you can see that it has the option to knock on it. And if we go down to one of the opening doors, you of course can open this door. I don't know if you can actually see it there, but it's actually floating with the water too. Whereas if it was part of the prefab, it obviously wouldn't do that. So this is obviously the harbor event that's going on right now. And these shipping containers will spawn anywhere there's a crane. I'm actually surprised there aren't any containers below this crane right here because a couple of minutes ago there were. Anyway, so that's one of them right there on this crane, but they will also spawn on that other crane. But wait, I haven't even gotten to the cool part yet. Don't worry, I'm going to show you. This plugin is actually really cool. I think you guys are really going to like this. And this of course is the train event. So if you have one of these flatbed cars that naturally spawn on your railroad track, there is a potential that it could spawn with one of these shipping containers on top of it. And now we have another event. And just so that it's noted, it is also marked on the map. So it's not like you might happen across this shipping container and be able to loot it uncontested. There is that possibility, but everyone else on the map also knows that it's there. And we of course can just go open the door and it opens like a garage door, and inside there's our loot. Now this loot table is totally configurable. We're going to go over all of that in just a minute once I show you guys the configuration file, which is super simple. Now they will also spawn out in the ocean. This is what's called the deep ocean event. Now sometimes you're going to see that they're kind of static. They just kind of float and bob in the water there. There's also a version of this same event where they'll actually float in closer to land. This one here is just floating there, not doing anything. Now, one thing to notice about these shipping containers, once they spawn in the water, as soon as you open the door, it will of course start filling with water. And of course, the shipping container will eventually sink. As soon as you open the door, of course, it's going to sink faster than if you'd have left the door closed. And of course, how quickly it fills with water and how quickly it sinks down to the bottom of the ocean, that's also configurable in the configuration file. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, why would I ever want to keep the door closed? See, there it is. It's now sinking into the ocean right there. And now I have to go find another one to show you the rest of this example. Here's one that's just naturally floating in towards shore. You of course can control that speed as well. But I think one of the coolest parts about this is any of these shipping containers that you come across, you can move them around. So if you're in the water and on a boat, you can direct where you want this shipping container to go. It's not easy, but you can do it. But I think a much more effective way would be to actually pick this thing up with a mini copter, which of course we can do that too. So I can just fly right over top of this with my mini copter and hit my right mouse button, and it's going to attach itself to the bottom of my mini. Just like so. So now I can transport this shipping container to a safer location before I start to loot it. Once you get to your safe location, wherever it is that you want to loot this container, probably inside of your base, inside your high stone walls or something like that, just click on the right mouse button again, and it will release it from your mini copter, of course, dropping it on the ground. And then of course we can go up to it, we can can open the door and of course loot everything that's inside of it. It is worth noting that once the door is open, this shipping container is no longer movable. And of course that same rule applies if you were trying to ram it with a boat or if you were trying to push it around with a car on land, whatever. Once the door has been opened, you can no longer move that shipping container. All right, so pretty cool event, right? Lots of different options for you to create an environment where your players are going to be fighting over different loot. So speaking of loot, let's actually deal with that. So we're not going to go over every single detail of the configuration file, but just know that each line is very well described. So it's going to be pretty easy for you to navigate your way around it. How long are these shipping containers going to exist before they start to despawn? The drifting characteristics, the sinking characteristics before and after the door has been opened, the train car probability of spawning with a shipping container on it, default 75%, the cargo ship intervals, the harbor drop intervals, and then of course everything that goes along with the deep ocean drop. Now the map markers that I was showing you is configurable. If you don't want to have that feature on your server, then of course you can turn that off in the configuration file and people will just have to accidentally stumble across one of these shipping containers. And then of course, whether you want your players to actually be able to pick up these shipping containers using helicopters, by default this is set to true. I think this is a really cool feature. I suggest you try it out before turning it off because I really think your players are going to like that ability. And then the rest of the configuration file is just dealing with the loot table for what people are going to find once they actually bust into one of these shipping containers. And by default, the loot table that the plugin actually comes with is not too bad. But depending on the type of server that you're running, it might make sense for you to go in and make some adjustments here, add some things, take some things out, whatever it is that you want to do. And you can change each one of the loot tables for the different types of drops. So the deep ocean has its own loot table, the cargo ship has its own loot table, etc., etc. It's not like you're creating one loot table that's going to be valid for all of the different types of shipping containers that are going to spawn on your server. So I didn't discuss any type of promo code for you guys before I started producing this video. To be honest with you, I had my head so far up my own butt before I left for Vegas, I wasn't even really thinking straight. It's been a really long 2 years. I needed to go on vacation. But so now that I've said that, I'm actually going to send Colin a message and see if he's willing to do a promo code. If there is one, by the time you guys see this video, it's going to be in the pinned comment down below, not in the video description like it normally is, but it'll be in the first comment down below where you need to go anyways because you're going to subscribe to the channel. You're going to leave a like on this video, plus you're going to leave me a comment down there anyways, so you might as well go down and check and see if there's a promo code down there for you too. Thank you all so much for watching. I put out a brand new video every Friday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. But before you take off, make sure you go check out one of these two videos right here. Of course, I would prefer you checked out both of them, but I understand you can only watch one video at a time. Thanks again for watching all my videos. If it weren't for you all, I'd have no reason to be here and I'd just be some weirdo talking to my computer.